Okay, as we can see, 2016 was one hell of a year when it came to politics. As we've seen in the US election, the EU referendum, the ongoing French and Austrian elections, there have been quite some differences as to how liberals and conservatives should run the government. Now, just to quickly recap how they go, liberals tend to want more freedom for the people. They usually fight for economic regulation, they are more flexible on immigration, they pretty much want more renewable energy and protecting the environment. They're also usually pro-choice and they tend to support gay marriage. Conservatives, on the other hand, they're more of the kinds of people, how shall we call it, they want to protect the certain customs and traditions of a country. They're usually more xenophobic. They tend to support free markets. They're usually pro-life. And in some extreme cases, they're more nationalistic. And they pretty much don't like renewable energy and think climate change is either a hoax or not really as bad. And as many other restrictions. So I bet you're wondering how this all happened in this election. Well, one reason is the echo chamber. Campaigns nowadays, they force their citizens and other people to mainly watch new mainstream media of only that they find good. This will create an us versus them kind of philosophy. And when people tend to watch debates or any other arguments, they watch only the flaws of the other campaign and demonize it. So therefore, they are just reinforcing their prevalent opinion.
You're not being honest by admitting you've got no silver bullet. And let me say this, you're scaring people to vote to leave the EU because I'll tell you this, you're telling lies. Turkey is not set to join the EU. Turkey is not set to join the EU. And let me say this.
I understand this kind of situation. You have bad people from both sides. I mean, these liberal social justice warriors are pretty much annoying and need to completely loosen up.
Most white people dance.
Seriously, like, is it genetic or something? Do we have, like, stiff hips or, like, 2 left feet?
I can dance.
Why do you get so annoyed when other people don't speak English?
English is hard. We have silent Ks.
Why do we get so excited to brag on Instagram that we went to this really cool, authentic cultural festival, even though we went with all of our white friends?
Why do white people spray tan until they turn orange?
Can't you just be comfortable in your own body?
I'm just saying, it's not tan, it's orange.
Why do you think that since you've seen 5 seasons of The Wire, you're a cultural expert?
Why do you believe everything you see on TV when it comes to other races?
Why do we get upset when a TV show becomes diverse, even though diverse usually just means 2 to 3 people of color?
Why do you assume movies with white stars are automatically more relatable than movies with people of color?
People of color have had to relate to white characters for all of cinematic history.
Why is Viola Davis the first black woman to win an Emmy for Best Actress?
Why aren't we complaining that the Oscars and other award shows are like all white?
It's just like white people congratulating other white people on being white.
Everybody should be represented.
Why don't we know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
Why can't we figure out how to make our own pop culture, our own slang, our own cool clothes, instead of stealing other people's cool clothes and then saying that they are our cool clothes?
Why are white people obsessed with Wes Anderson?
Why would you ever say thug life? It's a bad life.
What do you have against seasoning and spiciness? Didn't Christopher Columbus discover America looking for spices?
Why are casseroles our thing?
Why do you try to avoid confrontation at all costs?
Why is it crazy that I'm white and I have a big butt?
Why do you make such a big deal when somebody doesn't want to hike?
Why do you keep talking about reverse racism? That is not a thing.
We are the people in power.
Racism is about oppression. Sorry, white people have not been oppressed.
Why are you too afraid to speak up when someone says something racist?
Why do we think that having one friend of color means that nothing we say or do could possibly ever be racist?
Why does being half white automatically make my commentary on white culture only half true? I am just as much white as I am Mexican.
Why do you believe that Black Lives Matter means that your life doesn't matter?
Every life matters. It's just that one has a harder time living.
Why do you get offended when you see a table full of black people, but not when you see a lunchroom full of white people?
Why do you always ask to have a white people club?
You already do. It's the student union. It's primarily white. They have a black student union because you don't represent them well.
Why do you see the success of people of color as a threat to you?
You know that a 2-minute video about whiteness isn't reverse racism, right? 2 minutes about whiteness, hundreds of years of systemic oppression. Yeah, I think we can deal with this.
Why are we upset about
Like, shut the fuck up. But at the same time, these far-right nationalist populist thugs are just like, where do these people get the arrogance? I don't understand. They are brainwashed to their leaders and will literally listen to anything they say.
How did you feel hearing that?
Well, obviously it was very offensive. However, I think it's totally irrelevant. I mean, it was so long ago, and I do believe that most men will talk about women in ways that they would never talk about publicly. And of course, if they would have known that they were being recorded, there's no doubt in my mind the conversation would have been totally different. Nobody is perfect. Here's the issues. Last night in that debate, they defined their issues. They lined the marks in the sand. Number one, Roe v. Wade. Okay, Hillary Clinton doesn't care about murdering babies, dismembering abortions. That's okay with her. Okay.
Wait a second.
Religious freedom.
We're talking. I appreciate you talking about substance, and that is important, Vicky. But we're talking about locker room conversation.
Yes.
My question was about: is it okay that a man who wants to be the president of the free world is bragging and admits to it? And yes, he's apologized.
Yeah. Well,
to
that's wrong.
assault.
Okay. Yes, but that is wrong. Absolutely. But here's the thing, he's not running to be the Pope. Look at the culture of our country. Everybody knew he had strip clubs, but still the millions of people chose him to be the nominee. I mean, this is the kind of person that needs to lead our country. God can use anybody. He used the harlots. And that's the thing. It's all about what God can do. God can do this. God can use this man.
But you know, the things that we've
it's all a part of it.
From this adult man who is running to be president of the United States, millions of children heard that, boys and girls. And boys may take their cues from this guy who wants to be our president and behave in accordance with...
Okay, but here's the thing. When Bill Clinton was president, my children came home from school and they had no idea it was actually called the Oval Office. They thought it was called the Oral Office because of the talk in the elementary schools.
Okay,
Bill Clinton educated my children at a much younger age than I wanted to.
But Vicky, Bill Clinton isn't running for president right now.
Exactly.
We're talking about Hillary Clinton.
No, but his wife is. His wife is. And they are a pair. The two are one.
Now, the point of this video is that there is something in between. You have so-called moderates and centrists. Nothing here is black and white. You can have a conservative who is supportive of the EU, for example, but you can also have a liberal who does not support gay marriage. The majority of people, mostly either moderates or centrists, and they feel strongly for both sides. And that's the kind of people that, need to take power again. And despite what you might think, there are some pretty centrist governments. Like the president of Germany, for example, he's a centrist. The candidate for the president of France, Alain Juppé, he is also centrist. The Canadian MP, Tom McClare, he's also centrist. Now, I believe this kind of government is the actual best kind, which creates a sort of balance between both people. We need this kind of society. We can't have just one area, we need both in order to have some kind of equal structure. Now, when it comes to my personal goals, I believe everyone should have universal health care. I believe everyone should have affordable education. I also believe that we should do everything we can to fight climate change and have renewable energy. I believe wealthy people should pay more taxes and there should be more benefits for the middle class and poor people. I also believe weed and prostitution should be legalized. However, on a different note, I also believe that every country should have a standing military with its own military industry. I do not support same-sex marriage. I believe in a very strict immigration policy. When it comes to non-Western countries, I believe religion should be taught in school, and I believe that obesity is something that we really need to fix because it is a problem in our society. Obviously, this will not create a utopia, but still it will lead to some better structure than the current government is, because I'm afraid for the future, and the way I see it's not going quite well. Now, there are more to these kinds of ideologies that do kind of work out. I mean, I believe that these deeply religious people need to loosen up and are completely annoying, but at the same time, I also believe that hardcore atheists just make me want to claw my ears off. I also severely despise feminism, but I believe women should also approach men and initiate relationships more. Now, on another note, I disagree with Merkel's policy about letting in migrants, and I believe that will be the end of her career. But at the same time, I believe Britain's decision to leave the European Union was the worst decision they ever made. And in my honest opinion, I don't think they will go along with it. Now, when it comes to abortion, I have absolutely no opinion on abortion. And if I had my own country, I would let the hospitals decide that. But everything that I just said, centrism is something that is needed, and it's sort of been in our politics in the modern world up until now. It's that simple. We can have it done, and I honestly hope that in the future some other politicians who take a more centrist position will come in and pretty much support our ideas, because the way I see it, things are not looking good.